Alright, today we are going to be discussing lesson 1-5, which is subtracting integers. We worked on adding integers last week. Today we're going to be working on subtracting integers, which obviously our objective is to learn to subtract integers. Alright, so let's take a look at our first slide. Okay, it says subtracting an integer is the same as adding its opposite. And I have an example here for you. We have 4 minus -5. That's the exact same thing as saying 4 plus 5, okay, because we're adding the opposite of that -5. All right, and the rule that we're going to use to help us remember all this is going to be keep, switch, switch. Now, I'll show you exactly what I mean by that here on the next slide. Okay, like I said, the rule we're going to use is going to be keep, switch, switch. And the example I have for you is that same example we were just looking at, 4 minus -5. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to keep that first number the same. We're going to switch that minus sign to its opposite, turn it into a plus, and then we're going to switch that number right behind it to its opposite. That's our rule, keep, switch, switch. Anytime you see a minus problem that involves integers, negative numbers, we're going to do keep, switch, switch, which gives us this right here. Okay, so let's take a look at our examples. All right, our first one up here we have is 3 minus -6. Well, again, we're going to use our keep, switch, switch to solve this. So we're going to keep that 3 the same. We're going to switch that minus sign to a plus sign. Then we're going to switch the -6 to its opposite, which would be +6. And we work that out like we normally do. Well, 3 plus 6 is simply +9. Keep, switch, switch. Okay, let's take a look at our next one. Again, we're going to do keep, switch, switch. So we're going to do -4. We're going to switch that minus sign to a plus sign. We're going to make all these plus. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take all these to addition problems. Then we have to switch that 1 to its opposite. So that will be -1. Now, I have to use my integer rules for addition. I have -4 and -1. Since my signs are the same, I have to add those guys up. So I'm going to have 4 plus 1. That gives us 5. And since the signs are the same, I have to bring that sign over. So that's going to be -5. It's that simple. All right, let's take a look at our last one on this page. Again, we're going to keep that -7 the same. We're going to switch that minus to a plus. Then we're going to switch this -8 to its opposite, which would be +8. And we're going to use our integer rules to solve that. Well, 8, -7, our signs are different, so we have to subtract. So I'm going to have to do 8 minus 7. That obviously gives me 1. Now I need to look back over here and figure out if this is going to be positive or negative. I need to look and see which number has a larger absolute value. Well, 8 is going to have a larger absolute value than -7. So, and since 8 is positive, that means my answer is going to be +1. It's not too difficult, I wouldn't say. All right, let's take a look at our last example. On the last example here, it's asking us to solve this expression. Well, it's telling us, it says a minus 7 for a equals -9. So it's telling us that this a right here really is going to be -9. So we have to substitute that value in there. So our problem is really going to look like this. -9 minus -7. Okay, now we have to do our keep, switch, switch again. So we're going to keep that 9 the same, -9. We're going to switch that minus to a plus, and we're going to switch that 7 to its opposite, which would be positive 7. Now, my signs are different, so I have to subtract those guys again. So I'm going to have 9 minus 7. Well, 9 minus 7, that gives me 2. Okay, now I need to go back in here and figure out if my answer is going to be negative or positive. Well, look at negative 9, positive 7. Negative 9 has a larger absolute value, and since it has a larger absolute value and it is negative, that means my answer also has to be negative. So my answer is going to be negative 2. And that's all there is to it, ladies and gentlemen. Just remember your rule. Keep, switch, switch, and you should do fine.